friends, Ben with Food Facts here. I'm sitting with Cara Vasquez at the Flower Shop Scratch Bakery in Flower Mound, Texas. She is the pastry chef and owner here. Thanks for sitting down with me today.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming over.
Absolutely. So want to dive right into it. You guys have been around for almost 13 years.
Almost 13 years,
at the end of June, which is awesome.
Yeah.
You've owned it the whole time.
Yeah.
You started literally from scratch.
Yes.
So let's start at the beginning. Let's talk about where you're from, how you grew up, and then how you got into baking.
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in Duncanville, which is just kind of South Dallas area, and grew up baking my whole life. My mom is a big baker. Both of my grandmothers were bakers. And so, but still grew up with it a lot in my home. My mom still to this day cooks and bakes everything from scratch. And so it's just kind of something that was always ingrained in me.
It's in the family.
It's in the family. Absolutely. And so I've always just kind of had a love for it as a hobby, and didn't really know what I wanted to do once I graduated from high school. That burning question of what are you going to do with the rest of your life, of course, came up. And I did attempt and try. I started at a university here in Arlington, tried it for a semester, and I just knew immediately. And I knew going into it wasn't for me, but that's what you do. So I tried it and quickly realized that it wasn't for me.
And so is that where you pivoted? You ended up going to culinary school,
Exactly,
right?
Yeah. So that's where I pivoted that, and then ended up at culinary school, which was the best decision ever because it launched this career and this bakery and everything. I went to culinary school in Dallas at El Centro Community College, or Dallas College now, and just had some really great experiences, some awesome chefs that have kind of paved that way or taught me, the beginning of it. Very early on, also in that first semester, got my first job in a kitchen as a baker, and just immediately fell in love with the industry, with being in the kitchen commercially. It's very different from being at home in the kitchen, and even very different from school. But I just fell in love with it immediately. And so that began my baking career, and I was just turned 20 at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long were you in the restaurant industry before you decided to break out on your own?
10 years.
Okay.
10 years. So I spent that first 10 years of my career managing same restaurant for those 10 years. I did have some odd jobs here and there, kind of to pick up other skills, some decorating jobs, things like that. I worked in another small cafe as their pastry chef and just created a really small menu. But for the most part, my tenure was at that one restaurant where I grew up to their bakery manager, and eventually was managing 3 of their locations by the time that I left after 10 years of it.
And what was the deciding factor where you knew it was time to break out on your own?
It was just something that I always wanted to do. And then it was just kind of that timing. I was almost 30. I was still single, about to turn 30. Thought, what else am I going to do? Where am I going with this? And so I just kind of made that decision that better late than, there's no time like the present. So let's just go for it. And I started the plans of opening it and was very open. The owners were awesome. They're still great friends of mine. And went to them immediately so that we could start, training my replacement and figuring that out.
That's awesome.
So to not leave them, from having somebody who was with you for 10 years to leave.
I've only done a handful of these, but everyone who's broken out to do their own thing have talked about the support of the previous ownership or folks they worked with is key. It is key.
And this is such an incredible community, this industry is. Where we really do want to help each other out, and we really are here to help each other grow, and we want to see each other succeed, and we want to help you get to whatever that goal is for you, whether that means just at the top working for somebody else at their restaurant as their manager, as their executive chef, or whatever that might be, or if this is your next step that you want to either go work for somebody else or work for yourself.
That's awesome.
It's incredible to have that support from the people who know it better than you. Yeah.
So why Flower Mound? Because South Dallas?
Right. South Dallas to then downtown Dallas area. I kind of, as far as living, popped around Dallas quite a bit in my 20s. My family was up here. My sister and her husband moved up here right out of college to Louisville. And then not long after that, my parents followed the grandkids, of course.
Looks a little different today than it did 10 years ago, or 13 years ago.
13 years ago. And my sister has been out here, for at least 20 2 years or something like that. And so she was out here, like I said, first.
Okay.
And has been out here forever. And yes, it's completely different than it was back then. And even those from 13 years ago, it's drastically different.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it has grown so much, which is good for business.
Yes, certainly. So let's talk about that. 13 years, you've owned this flower shop. That's not an easy feat, especially with things we've gone through in the past 13 years, recessions, COVID. So talk through the biggest challenges you've run into, things that surprised you.
Yeah, I mean, COVID, of course, was the biggest challenge that any of us, I think, have faced. And we're very fortunate of the community that we're in, because that's what got us through it.
Yeah.
We were thankfully able to pivot. Being a restaurant, we were still considered or able to stay open. And so we were open the entire time. We have not closed one day. Which is really incredible. We adjusted our hours, of course. So we cut back on our staff significantly, cut back on our hours significantly, and kind of pivoted to offering different things. We started offering delivery, curbside pickup, take and bake items so that you could take them home and do them, and even take home kits so that you could take them home, decorate cookies with your kids, things like that, just to give people at home some sort of sense of normalcy and give them something to do while they're at home and keep their kids entertained.
Right. So, and talking about community and then talking about kids, I know y'all are planning to do a summer camp.
We are, yes.
Is that new, or is that something you've done in the past?
Yeah, summer camp is something that we started when we moved to this location. This is our second location, meaning that we moved. We don't have two. This is our only one. But when we moved here, with the space that we were given, we've doubled in size when we moved. And so now with this amount of space, we were able to find that and offer that. We did birthday parties at our last location, and they were a big hit. And so we just really wanted to expand on that. So that was in 2018, would have been our first year for summer camp.
And you still do parties. So if anyone wants to come in and do a party and bake, you're all about that.
Absolutely.
Tell us about the summer camp just a little bit quickly. What does that look like?
It's so much fun. They're here for 4 days. So we have them Tuesday through Friday. They're here from 9 to 1. And we also feed them lunch. And they get to bake all day. They're doing things like making cake pops. They get to make brownies. They get to decorate. Their last day is typically a cupcake wars.
Oh, nice.
And so they will come home with at least one, if not two, different treats every single day. So you'll love us and hate us.
And what age group are we talking?
We're talking like 7 to 13 is probably the most that we get. We've had a few that are a little bit younger, a few that are a little bit older.
That's awesome.
But mostly between.
So if you're in the Flower Mound area looking for something for your 7 to 13-year-old to do this summer, the Flower Shop's got something for you.
Yes, please. It's so much fun. Talking
about the menu and what you guys offer, I know it's in the name. It's in the website. Scratch is key. So tell us what, everything is directly
everything
from
that
scratch.
We do is made from scratch. It's all baked fresh every single day or throughout the week as needed. And we've always prided ourselves on that. And for me too, as a pastry chef, as somebody who's been to culinary school, it's extremely important to me. We are making everything, from all of our baked goods all the way to our homemade syrups that we use in our coffee. We make it all. So if you get it from us, then you know that it was truly from scratch and made in this kitchen by us.
And when some of the offerings you have, I mean, what are the highlights on the menu? Most sold items. I know you customize a lot too. So.
We do. We definitely offer some custom stuff as well. But honestly, one of our biggest sellers is probably still cupcakes.
Okay.
We have hundreds of flavors that we kind of rotate through. Most of our cupcakes have a filling inside of them, so we get to have a lot of fun with those, and we've had a lot of fun creating flavors for those as well. Those do really well. I would say our pies are very popular, and then kind of our bars and brownies, probably our top 3 items.
I know
are those.
We did cupcakes from here for my 3-year-old's birthday back in 4 months ago. And she still talks about it. She still talks about getting the cupcakes and going to the birthday park because we did it in a park.
Yeah.
So she's still talking about that 4 months on.
That's so fun.
All right, Cara, do you have a food fact for us?
I do have a food fact for you. Did you know that Americans consume over 2 billion cookies each year?
I did not know that.
Isn't that crazy?
Now you
know. It's a lot of cookies.
Awesome.
Yeah.
If you're in Flower Mound, come by the Flower Shop and be sure to check it out.